Hey guys, it's Mind Games. Welcome back to another guide video. Today I want to talk about GALIO, a champion that I've been playing a lot in ranked, and a couple days ago I made a video on him and how to counter Rumble with him. But after playing him a little bit more in ranked, I feel like he deserves more of a spotlight. So today I wanted to make a full guide for you guys on how to play GALIO my way. Before we get into the video, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for helping me hit 300 subscribers. It's a huge milestone for me. Making videos has been a little bit tough recently with stale meta, and I got school to work with. But seeing these milestones, seeing these subscribers, it really motivates me to make more videos for you guys. So thank you guys, and keep it up. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It's free. You can unsub at any time. Thanks. Let's get back to the video. Now, before we get into the builds and runes, let's talk about some of the matchups, because I think that's really important if you're playing GALIO. I think he's a better counter pick champion rather than a blind pick champion. There's a lot of matchups that he does well into, and there's a lot of matchups that he does not do well into. So let's get into the tier list. So here's the tier list. You can go through it, look through it by yourself. Let me just point out a couple things. In S tier, we have a bunch of control mages. These are obviously really easy for GALIO because he can make a lot of good value with his ultimate, as well as easy for him to set up ganks for his jungler because these guys do not have any escapes. Also in S tier, we have Diana and Akali. You can completely negate Diana's ult with your ultimate, and Akali is very easy to taunt out of her shroud, as well as Kiana in A tier, who goes invis, very easy to taunt out of invis. In A tier, we have a lot of control mages too, but these guys are a little bit more mobile, or they have more defensive tools for escaping, as well as a couple artillery mages that can farm basically from afar away, don't even have to be in range of GALIO's full combo, and they can farm very safely. Silas is worth mentioning. He can steal your ultimate, and in my build that I'm using, your ult is going to be probably the main part of the build, and having Silas steal your ult is not really good, but for the rest of the kit, it's pretty good matchup. In the B tier, there's a couple of mages that I put at the top. These mages basically don't really care about GALIO's ultimate at all, because Annie can insta-cast her ult. You really don't have time to react for it, and a couple of these other champions can run away very easily, and the Vel'Koz does a lot of true damage. There are a couple AP assassins which are good because you can ult your team and help them, but the AD assassins, you cannot do that, so it's a little bit harder for them. In the C tier, we have a couple of ADCs. ADCs are pretty hard to deal with because they can farm from a safe range. Yasuo can run you down very easily, and unless you have a lot of help from your jungler, it's kind of hard to deal with them because you have no kill pressure, and they can farm safely for their ADC items, which are quite strong at the moment. Now in D tier, these two champions are basically the hardest matchups for GALIO. Absolutely don't even pick GALIO into these champions, even if you're good. Anivia, there's no way around her wall, and GALIO really relies on his ability to catch up to people, and Anivia basically makes that impossible, as well as her really good wave clear. And even if you manage to solo kill her in lane, she has her egg, she pops it, you have no follow-up damage after your first combo. For Yone, this is also a really hard matchup. Unlike the other ADCs that run you down, this ADC has a lot more safety. He E's, and you already lost the trade. So he is very strong. Yes, he does a little bit of magic damage, but when he ults your team, your ult's not going to help that much. It's still possible to lock him down because he is a pretty squishy target. Most of the mid lane champions are squishy targets. But yeah, basically he is not so easy. So first, let's go over GALIO's abilities. His passive is Colossal Smash. His next auto is dealing bonus magic damage, and this is very easy wave clear for GALIO. And the reason why GALIO is so good into a lot of mages is because he doesn't need mana to clear waves. He can just auto them with his passive along with his Q, which doesn't cost that much mana, and he can outpush most mages early without even spending a lot of mana, which allows you to go Thorn's Shield in some matchups. Next, onto his his Q does not do a lot of damage, especially in this build. You're not going to be maxing it, and its base damage is quite high, which means you are able to do a lot of damage if you max it first, but the scaling is terrible, so even if you're going full AP Galio, your Q is not going to be doing that much damage, so we're going to be looking at a different build. And this build concentrates on your W, which is this ability that you're going to be maxing first. Maybe not completely all the way, maybe 3 or 4 points is enough depending on the matchup. If you're going against someone like Rumble or Oriana, which has a really high damage impact AP ultimate, you're going to be maxing W all the way to tier 5 in order to have a huge ult shield on your team if they get caught out in that ultimate. But against champions like Zed and Yone, you don't need this, so you're actually going to be maxing Q instead. Skip over Galio Z, there's really nothing to say. You can use this ability to dodge abilities like ones that are coming right in front of you, but other than that, there's really no outplay potential in his E. Now, Galio's ultimate is the main part of his kit. This is the most important part because it allows him to go very far distances like TF, but on top of that, it gives everybody a magic shield, and it also has an AoE knockup, which makes it really hard for people to continue fighting inside it, enemies that is, and it allows your team to retreat very easily, or they can use that in order to push forward because people are running away from it. Now that all of the abilities are out of the way, let's talk about some of the rune choices. His basic rune stats look like this. You take Aftershock, Shield Bash, anything from the 3rd row is okay, anything from the 4th row is okay. I take Revitalize because it allows my shield to be bigger. When I use it on allies, it also allows shield on me to be bigger. But if you're against a high CC team, you can take Tenacity, and the slow resist actually does help your W because you are slowing yourself in your W. And talking about slow resist, let's go over to Phase Rush. Some people like to take Phase Rush because you can do a 3-hit combo and it activates Phase Rush, and you can easily land your W because not only gives you movement speed, but it also gives you slow resistance, which you are slowed when you do slow yourself when you use your W. You take Transcendence and Nimbus Cloak. You always take Transcendence, Nimbus Cloak, no matter what build you go. These are very important runes to have because it allows you to flash taunt or TP taunt right out of the TP. These are very good. The main reason you would go Phase Rush is because you can't proc Aftershock very easily. For example, if you're against Syndra maybe, or someone and their entire team basically is really hard to make use of Aftershock, you would use Phase Rush instead. But a better alternative to Phase Rush is Predator, and this is starting to become a more common build these days. Predator Galio allows him to roam very easily without the use of his ultimate. He can just walk up to people and start channeling his W, and because of the movement speed, he can land it on some people very easily. And this is definitely probably preferred over Phase Rush because it allows you to roam a lot easier. So let's go over to the item choices. Most matchups you're going to be going Doran's Ring. This is basically good for all matchups. However, some matchups make Doran's Shield better. Matchups where people want to poke you out, like maybe Oriana or maybe LeBlanc. They have maybe a little bit of kill pressure. Doran's Shield is a little bit better because in those matchups they require use of a lot of mana in order to push the waves. This will make it so that not only are they not able to outpush you, they're not able to outpoke you too, so you just checkmate them. First rush item, Rocket Belt every time. You go these couple items into Rocket Belt. As for boot choices, you can go Mercury Treads or Plated Steel Caps. Those are my recommended ones, make you a little bit tankier. But there's a couple good options out there like Boots of Swiftness, Boots of Lucidity, and Sork Boots maybe. These are also good. The reason why they're very versatile boots and also good with Galio, so depending on what you need, you can go the other ones. Second item, you would want to go Zanya's. This is basically 90% of the games that you play, because Zanya's is such a broken item, and this allows you to engage without worrying about dying too quickly. After your aftershock wears off, they might try to burst you. Zanya's can counteract that. After Zanya's, you want to go for a couple more items. As for AP items, you want to go Demonic Embrace because it makes you quite tanky, and Banshee's Veil gives you magic resist, also a really good item. Cosmic Dry gives you ability haste. But if you want to go for a tank item, Thornmail is your absolute go-to tank item. This item allows you to have 60% Grievous Wound proc on your W, E, and ultimate. This is a really good ultimate. Abyssal Mask also procs 10% increased damage after you immobilize someone, so that's also to think about. And basically any of the tank items are good, the ones that are in the meta, that is. So let's go over everything once again. When should we pick Galio? Basically, you should definitely pick it into an AP mage. That is probably your best matchup, maybe an Orianna or a Syndra. This way you can get very easy kills on them with your jungler. And it's also important that you have a really good jungler, because this build is very jungle reliant, very team reliant. You're relying on your team to make plays so that you can follow up with them and help them make those plays. Don't pick Galio if you have a jungler that's a Master Yi or a Karthus who just wants to farm. You want to pick Galio with an aggressive jungler, someone like Viego, someone like Hecarim. This way you can set up the ganks for them very easily and you can get them ahead, because in this build you almost have absolutely no solo kill pressure in your lane. You're just a really slow champion, you don't do that much damage, you're maxing W, so don't expect you to win lane by yourself. The whole point is to basically nullify the enemy player and make sure that your team does not get collapsed on or dove. This is basically to help your team, not to help yourself. In the early game, what you want to be doing is you want to be farming with your autos and pushing the wave as much as you can, because the more you push, the less chances your opponent has time to roam. Even if they are very high roam champions like Talon or high wave clear champions like Xerath, you can definitely match it by sacrificing a little bit of your HP or mana just to keep them in lane, just to make sure that they can't get vision, make sure that they can't roam, just keep them in check. Now, do remember that if you just stay in your own lane for the entire game, you're going to be useless by the 30-minute mark. Galio gets outscaled by basically every single champion in the game, unless they have a very high AP ultimate like Orianna, Ziggs, that you can actually use your ult to be very useful. But anyone else like Yone or Anivia, these champions will hard outscale you, and this is definitely not the time to be picking Galio into those champions. So you have to be making plays with your ultimate, with Predator, just by pushing in the wave and roaming, and that's basically how you're going to be winning your games, not by getting solo kills, not by outscaling, right? You have to focus on your win condition and make sure that the game doesn't get dragged out too long, or else you're going to end up getting outscaled. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, if you guys liked the video, please consider subscribing, please consider liking. It really means a lot to me. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.